This is another fishing podcast.
So this is Kyle Hall's boat. He does not have, he has the bass brakes on it, but I did not get a shot of this. But here is his boat, dude. So this is this iKon boat. He's got a 250 on the back. On the console, he's got three, I'll show this to you quick here, but he's got three graphs on the console, and then he's got three graphs at the bow. And then you can see his shallow water anchor's actually down right now, so you can't see those bass brakes on it. But that boat is a very expensive boat there, dude. Like, I would say that boat is easily over $100,000.
So he just pulls up and drops those anchors and then doesn't tie the boat up? He just jumps off the boat?
And it's, I mean, yeah, like shallow water anchors are really super handy. It's like,
yeah.
So, I mean, they're really, really nice. It's such a great invention. It's amazing that we ever lived without them. It's crazy to see a bass boat now, at least a tournament bass boat, without them.
What's their maximum depth? Is it like a 10, 15-foot thing?
They actually make them up to, I think, 12 feet. I think Minn Kota makes a 12-footer. PowerPole makes something like a 12-footer, I think.
My burnt rope anchor hands are just screaming for a pair of those.
Yeah, they're really something. It's crazy just how far, bass boats and just positioning and it's just the ability to be able to just move that boat the way you want it and then lock it down is just incredible, either physically or with GPS. It's just wild, it's crazy. And
there's something in space like keeping you on fish,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when GPS, I mean, we're old enough to remember them before GPS. Like, it's...
Kidding me?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then, but look at this, like, mission control here. This is at his console.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
That's all Garmin stuff, huh?
Yeah, so Garmin, I would say they are really the best with forward-facing sonar. Live scope, live sonar, whatever you want to call it. They are just, I mean, their picture quality with their live stuff is just amazing. But you see what he's doing there. He's using, I mean, he's got two graphs on the right where, he does have some sonar on there. Actually, he's got sonar on each of them. A little window open, but I don't know. I mean, he probably has forward-facing sonar on his transom too. In fact, I think the fact that he's using three graphs, he's got forward-facing sonar on his transom. So he's looking actually with live sonar. Down imaging, like side scanning, has been all the rage for the last, it's been out for a while now. I think guys are now, they're using live scope to just do that live now. And so I think he's probably doing that. He's, what makes a lot of sense is maybe on the left scan, live scope, he's using that graph on the left. And then his graph on the right is maybe the live scope looking out towards the, right side of his boat, the starboard side. And then maybe just traditional 2D sonar in the middle. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know, but that would make sense to me. It's just, how do you feel? Like, to me, I think things are just getting out of flipping control, dude. Like,
anytime you get to a professional level in any sport, that's kind of the out of control part of it, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I'm still, I'm not against the live scoping because I'm so interested in it. Like, even when, you could drop an underwater camera, I always thought that was an amazing thing to do to kill time more than anything, more so for ice fishing, which can be a debilitatingly boring sport. And if you have a camera, you have that extra layer of, this is kind of fun. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the fish to bite. And there's a bunch of scenarios, but it's weird, when you talk about in competition, that guy's got to pay for his boat. So why not give yourself every possible tool to see what you can catch. It's not like you're harvesting fish commercially and keeping them and then destroying an ecosystem, He's just out there catching bass and putting them back in the water. But I know what you mean. It is, it's excessive to say the least, and the average Joe can't relate. But at the same time, you look at that boat and you're like, oh my God, that would be so much fun,
Yeah, I mean, as a fisherman, I struggle with this because, to have that much information at your disposal, to know exactly what's happening in the water column is just like, it's magic. To have that as a fisherman is like incredibly powerful.
How many times have we said when we're on the water, like, I wonder if you took all this water away, and you could see the fish that were sitting in the water below you, what that would look like, And this is kind of giving you a cheat for that. But the scary part is where it's going to be in 10 years from now,
Yes, indeed. And here is, so then you go up to his bow. Sorry, let's bring this up. So here's his bow. And right, so that, you see that it says NBT Marine. I did a story on this a couple podcasts ago. And so this graph, that's a 22-inch graph.
My God, he's got a hummingbird and what's in a Lowrance?
Yeah, so he's got a hummingbird and then a Lowrance. And then, by the way, that's a new Minn Kota Ultrex motor, the new Quest that just came out.
Thing's a beast.
It's a beast, dude. So, with that NBT Marine graph, that 22-inch graph, what's really cool about that graph is that it's actually cheaper than a comparable, let me try that, graph of that size. It's this Canadian guy's making these things. So it's a touch screen, but you can use like a smaller graph, connect it to it, and that smaller graph, and I believe it's only Garmin's right now, can do this.
Kind of cool. But the other, he's got 3 Garmin's in there, and then he's got that one MBT. Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, NBT Marine. He's got, that's a Humminbird and then the Lowrance, and then the NBT Marine.
Right, but we saw all those Garmin's working, so there's either transducers or sonars for each one of those. There's
Correct.
3 for the front, or the middle of the boat. And then there's at least 2 more transducers up front here, right? Somehow? Like, where do they put all that?
Yeah, you could see...
Probably in the motor, I guess.
You could see so he's got a number of things going on here. And this is where things really need to start getting consolidated, because it's just getting ludicrous. It looks ridiculous. I think if, as a sport, this is, maybe it's just because I'm old-fashioned, I'm sure that's what it is, most of it, but it just looks a little ridiculous, to me. Can
he put his foot under those screens and then control the trolling motor? And that?
Yeah, barely. You could see the foot pedal there.
Yeah, he's just built into the boat as a permanent spot for your foot pedal, huh?
Well, it's just it took forever for people to go, you know what, we should have a recessed area for the trolling motor so it's not raised, right? So it's just a recessed, and it's been this way since, I guess what's funny is it took many years. It was about around the early 2000s when someone finally went, you know what, we should make recessed area for the foot pedal. So it's much more comfortable that it's down there than raised up. So that's just, so with bass boats, guys just have it set there, just locked in there in that recessed, well for the trolling motor. But yeah, it does. But it's funny how long it took for someone to go, we should just have a hole there so it's not so up high. But the thing is, what's going on here? So a lot of people like the Humminbird for the mapping. Lowrance, their live, they call it live target is really pretty good. I'm not sure what he's using that one for, why that's a better graph, but that NBT, he's using that, I'm sure he's using that for the forward-facing sonar screen because it's the biggest screen you can get right now. And it's just going to really show everything well. So, as far as live out in front of you. But what's going on there on his trolling motor, so on it looks like he's got two forward-facing transducers on there, actually.
He has to.
And then, and then just the regular sonar is built into the head of that trolling motor, I'm pretty sure. But
Right.
you see connected on the top there, that's connected to the main shaft of the trolling motor. There's another shaft. That's that Humminbird 360 that basically does a scan of the around you, of the radius around you. So it gives you, and that's not live though. That's not live though. But so it gives you it gives you kind of a lay of the land around your boat. So it's
are we going to wear virtual reality goggles?
Well, it's 2024, and it's just like, it's just crazy. I think about, I'm 48, we're getting up there, but it's like, I don't want this to get so, first of all, it's really, bass fishing was already expensive for someone that wanted to get into it, really give it a go for a career, and now to compete, you need all of this stuff on here. And I'm not so sure that that's good for the sport, honestly, for the
professional sport, for sure.
The
average Joe can still get a cheap kayak and go have a blast out there, but if you want to legitimately compete, and those guys, you have to fight to make money in those things. Most of those guys are breaking even, if that. You got to have a for it, and it's kind of maybe would scare away, a great fisherman, because you're like, well, I'm already behind the 8 ball. I can't afford to jump into this game unless I'm winning every week, which is impossible unless you're on Van Dam's level.
I just think, if we're gonna have this as like, okay, this is the standard at the top level, at the pro level, then you really need to make sure that there's tiers where, it's like, okay, maybe that's okay at the top level, but in the beginning, the minor league, so to speak, or like, it's just that it's getting crazy. I mean,
even the playing field by, limiting electronics to a certain level.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I think that needs to be done